Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called 50 cents. I was a cashier in college, and a lady and her friend were talking in my line and being dismissive. I rang her up and told her the total. She handed me cash and was 50 cents short. I said, "Ma'am, it's 50 more cents." She rolled her eyes and said, "I want to pay cash." Then went back to talking to her friend. I said, "Yes, ma'am. Do you have 50 more cents?" She turned toward me and very slowly and condescendingly said, "I want to pay with dead cash," and pointed at what she handed to me. I said, "Yes, ma'am," and hit the cash button and entered the amount she gave me. I politely said, "Okay, your total is 50 cents. How would you like to pay for that?" She realized what happened and got embarrassed and said, "I have 50 cents. To her friend's credit, she was laughing at her. The next story is called His Job. I work at a hotel with just one maintenance engineer. It's not a large hotel, so one is enough. On a regular day, he insisted I call him about maintenance work, rather than putting in a work order, so he can just fix it and not have to close it out on the computer. This leads to me calling 4 to 5 times a day. I call him for things like broken ACs, hanging up a picture frame, or a cabinet door falling off. If it's something easy like a light bulb or a clock drain, I just fix it myself. Recently he took 2 weeks off for surgery. I tried to figure most things out myself and only called him if I really needed assistance. Instead of 4 to 5 calls a day, I called him maybe 4 times in the entire 2 weeks to let him recover and rest. I tried to handle most things and not bother him. When he came back from his vacation, he noticed something was installed incorrectly. A shower wall shampoo holder. I put it on the wall but didn't grout it. He responded by saying, "If you want to do my job, let me know and I'll go elsewhere," and was generally petty for the rest of the day. Okay, I won't do your job for you. So I called him for everything, probably over 20 times a day. I don't want him to leave, so I let him do his job. The third story is called Roommate Compliance. I moved to a new place, a new country, and new city for a long-term work assignment. I had a friend who had an empty apartment with 1 month of lease left, and I took it from his hands. But the lease was already closed and couldn't be transferred to my name, so this was my temporary apartment. I had exactly 1 month to find a new place to stay. I needed to stay somewhere close to work, as it wouldn't be possible to get a license or car anytime soon. Also, I needed a roommate to share the rent. Rent of 1-bedroom apartments cost about 80% of a 2-bedroom, and having a roommate in a 2-bedroom made better sense. I found a guy from my country who even spoke my language, and I signed the lease. He wished to stay out of the lease, and I didn't mind. He joined me in the temporary apartment. A couple of weeks later, he informed me that he was going to travel back home for 4 weeks, because his wife had just delivered a baby girl. I wished him well and learned more about his travel plans. He was going to travel the day before the move-in date to the new apartment. I didn't mind handling the move myself. He left, and the next day I got the keys and moved in. I brought my things and his things to the new place and set up all the utilities, internet, etc. He returned after 4 weeks, which was basically the 28th of that month. The end of the month arrived, and I shared the expense split Excel with him. He pointed out that he had only stayed 3 days in the month and couldn't split 50-50. That was logical, since I was the one who used the power and water that month. So I reduced his share to just 3 days for the utilities and sent it back. Here's where things got bizarre. He said he would only pay rent for 3 days as well. That was illogical. I pointed out that while he may not have stayed, his stuff, luggage, furniture, etc. had stayed at the house. Also, I didn't sublet the days he wasn't home, but he was adamant. I gave him one last chance to change his mind. He didn't. What he didn't know was that I had been delaying an international trip for over a year at that point, so I worked out leave plans with my employer. and made that trip for 4+ weeks. My employer had also been trying to convince me to travel for a week to a convention in a different city. Earlier I was reluctant, but now I had a reason to go. I also made lots of friends at work and went out for road trips over multiple weekends. Basically, within the next 4 months, I had made him pay more rent for 6+ weeks than me. Using his bizarre logic, I had already spent 2 more weeks out than him. There was one trip when my flight landed around 10 PM and my shuttle dropped me at my apartment entrance at 11:40. I decided to just sit at the gym, watching TV until midnight, so I could reduce 1 more day from my share of the rent. I went home and realized he was still awake that night. I knocked on his room door, and when he opened it, I informed him of what I had just done. Then I had a good night's sleep. The last story is called The Worst Coworker. We had this coworker on our team. The best way to describe him is by using a Homer Simpson line. Everyone says they have to work a lot harder when I'm around. Projects given to him were usually not completed correctly, not entirely completed, or not even worked on at all. He violated security protocols, gave out equipment to other departments, and would occasionally disappear for hours. He always had someone else to blame for his problems. Contractors, staff in other departments, but the last straw for the rest of us was when he tried to throw his own team under the bus. We all knew he was skating by, because we'd fix his mistakes to keep everything else running. And admittedly, it's hard to get fired from a state job. But after blaming us and making us hear about it, that was the last straw. So the rest of us on the team stopped helping him, and we stopped fixing his mistakes. He wasn't making obvious mistakes before. Now they were obvious. The mistakes were piling up, and fast. We would collaborate with him only down to the bare minimum. He had no reason to blame us if our contributions to a project were completed and his weren't. And then came the final nail. He took a week off. With him not around, everything that had piled up started getting completed by the rest of us. New tasks were completed on top of that, and on time. Even my boss couldn't ignore the simple fact that the place ran smoother without him around. After he returned, everything started piling back up again. So we came into work a couple of weeks ago, and it was announced that he had left the organization. Not one person was surprised. The thing that amazes me about this whole thing is that nobody coordinated it. None of us hatched a plan. We all just individually decided that enough was enough. It is impressive for how much it takes to get fired for some people. My last 2 jobs both featured a teammate who essentially collected a paycheck and did nothing in return. At least my manager here had the guts to do what was needed. It's also amazing that, in the end, there's less work to do with him gone, because tasks don't need to be done twice anymore. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.